Can I tell you one of the biggest mistakes I see families make every single year? When building their college list, they start with the colleges. Now, I know that sounds strange, but hear me out. They find a dream school, another dream school after that. And before long, they have a long list of colleges with no actual strategy. When I'm building a list of colleges with families, I tell them, you are amazing at putting dream schools on the list. My job is to bring the reality. So let's talk about how I go about building a college list. The first thing I look at is academics. And by academics, I mean I look at whether or not the student is a good, viable applicant at that university. And I also look to see, is this a good fit for their major? I want to know where the student's GPA and test scores fall in comparison to other students they have admitted. A great place to start is in that middle 50%, students that fall within that 50th percentile for the GPA and the SAT or ACT scores. If your students' scores are above that range, it's a good sign. If they're in the middle of that range, that's also a good sign. If they're significantly below it, that's information we need to pay attention to. But here's the important part. Here's where families get in trouble. They stop there and they see, oh, my student's in the middle 50%. They're a slam dunk. They're going to get in no problem. They think, great, my student's right in the middle. This must be a safety school. But that's not necessarily always the case. You need to go a step further and start looking at the acceptance rate. If a college admits 60, 70, 80%, then yes, you can call that a safety for your student. But if they're admitting 10, 20%, we need to dig further. Even with the strongest GPA and test scores, those schools are still not admitting every single qualified applicant. And it's not because your student isn't qualified, it's because there are more applicants than seats available. So remember, when building your student's college list, go the step further and not only look at whether or not their GPA and SAT or ACT scores fit that middle 50%, but also look at those admission rates as well. Now let's talk about the second thing families don't talk about enough when building their college list: money. In my opinion, the financial fit of a university should be one of the big things families are talking about at the very beginning. Not after admissions decisions come out, not after everyone falls in love with the university, at the very beginning. All too often, I see on social media families trying to scramble and figure out how to pay for a college after their student has been admitted and they've gone ahead and put the deposit down and they're getting ready to go to orientation. So, to avoid this, go and run the net price calculator. It won't be perfect, but it will give you a reasonable estimate of what that college will cost for your family. Now, a quick secret: sometimes colleges don't include scholarship money in that estimate. If the net price calculator doesn't ask about SAT or ACT scores or a student's GPA, then you need to dig a little further on their website and go and look to see if they have any posted scholarships your student might qualify for. Because some colleges are generous with merit aid, others are generous with financial aid, and some colleges are wildly not generous at all and charge close to sticker price. You need to understand these categories of where these colleges fall when you're building the college list. I always tell families it's perfectly fine to have some admission reaches and to have some financial reaches on your list. I love it when kids dream big. But just make sure you know which one those are on the college list. I tell kids all the time, let's not fall in love until we know we're in and until we know we can afford it. The goal at the end of this is to have options on your list in April when all the acceptances have come in that meet you where you are financially, academically, and socially. Because the perfect college list isn't just about where you can get in. It's about where you can thrive, where you can afford to go, and where you'll be excited to enroll if that door opens. And remember, sometimes colleges do prove us wrong, and I love it when that happens. But a good strategy doesn't depend on being proven wrong. It starts with understanding the odds and building a college list that gives you real chances and real choices at the end of this journey.